Hello everybody, it's Drivermilt. I'm making a videotape here, or doing a little research on something I received. It's all drum equipment. This is drum related, and Drivermilt does know something about drums, a little bit. Played them for about 30 years or so, but what I got today was this huge, enormous box that had about 45 miles of paper in it from Musician's Friend. I tend to buy a lot of things from them. Their packaging is very good. The shipping is quick. However, I did buy a cymbal from them once. It was badly tarnished. Sent it back and don't buy cymbals from them, but I buy everything else from them. So, but this is what came today. This is the ddrum. This cymbal stand cost me about $55. It was very, very comparable to the $98 the stand right on your picture, which is right over there, the crash stand next to the hi-hat. That's a DW, very much the same stand. Cost about $40 more. All right, let's face it, when you're talking about straight stands, anything less than, an earthquake. So here we go. I've been impressed with some of the ddrum stuff, which most people have, I think, because the price is so comparable. And it comes nicely wrapped in plastic here. Sorry, I had my back to you there. This is what we have. So, we're gonna, all the pieces are there. Okay, well, let's untie this thing and see what we get out of it. Drum equipment is so subjective. I mean, depending on what gauge, or, some stands that I have, I could blow them over, and other people think they'd be great, but I purchased the Sakai or whatever from Drummer's Workshop. That's the end stand over there on the end. It's very thin, has a flat bottom, fits in places, but I notice it works great when it's down low. Carries weight, distributes weight lower down and around in here. When you're reaching up here to things like the way I have my crashes set, it doesn't hold so much. It tends to wobble a little bit too much, which makes me uncomfortable. Especially when you got I figured at last figure that 18-inch crash on the end right there is a medium thick. Got it when I was in 6th grade. It was already several years old then. I figure it's at least 50 years old or more. It's an 18-inch Avitas A Zildjian. It's probably the best cymbal I've ever had, and I've had it my life since I was 6th grade. So, with my tightwad father's flea market drum set he bought for me there, which I was so unproud of. But the funny thing is, I had a flea market drum set that had a 18-inch bass drum and a 16-inch floor tom that were the old Slingerlands. They were wood with this cast on them, and no bottom heads or rims. Played them that way for years. Eventually sold them used in order to acquire a 5 set that I bought used. And I look back at it now, and I wished I'd never gotten rid of them. Everybody would they'd give their seething heathen for it right now. But we'll move this over here. As you can see, my front room is not that big. But as with most of the Musician's Friends boxes, they come with an enormous amount of paper and supplies. Wow, this cymbal stand came with a drum key. That's pretty classy. I gotta say, that's pretty classy. So, let's collect the paper up. I don't know how these guys make any money with the amount of packing material that they send. Okay, we'll set that off. This over here. Now, let's see if we can put this out on the floor. Well, the bass looks very good. It's very tight. It's got a nylon insert, which I'm not real fond of, but nowadays that tends to be what most of them do. I have it set at what I call a comfortable spread for the bass. The comes with a drum key. I can't believe that. So here's the next section of piece. It's, as you can see, it's pretty heavy duty. It is got the same type of memory with the little tooth in it. That keeps it in place. So even though the outside look of the hardware itself isn't the same, it is very much the same style and the same engineering as this piece on the DW, which also has the notch underneath it right here, and is tuned with a drum key. So we're going to take this and put it in here. Well, this one's kind of nice. Now look at that. The way that your system fits in, your notch fits right in and makes it look like one piece. That's actually pretty nice. I hadn't seen one like that. The DW is somewhat like that. It doesn't appear to be one piece quite the way that one goes together, but and the locker on the DW is pretty fancy because it's hinged on both sides, and you can actually take it off. You can actually take it off and move it. You know, it'll clip around it. So, but I also bought this, picked this out because I mean, if I wanted to go cheap, you could buy one of those Rogue things or whatever, and that's what I put on the kids' drum sets. But that stuff, when you start playing, really start playing it, it tends not to hold ground well. So, as you can see, it's the same type of piece. It's got the notch on it. All the cymbal stands, because the DW came with this too, come with this. And I don't know, compared to the old stuff, I don't think this is so great, but this is what everybody does now. So let me get this off. The wing nuts are vastly better than they used to be. We used to use regular, just straight type of wing nut, you know, with the two butterflies on the top. So let me adjust my camera. Here we go. So as you pull this out, this piece here is not the piece that I'm generally real fond of. Nylon seated rather than a washer, so it has the tube in the middle of it to protect the cymbal. This is great, but I find that when you play on them for periods of time and they're hard, they're not that great. I will probably replace it with the old standard big solid chrome, you know, cupped washer and a piece of plastic cymbal guard, and then put the foam Easy Go washers on there, or pads. You know, I'll put these type, what they call sim pads. Simpad.com. So the big white pads on my set. These I'll probably replace it with these. I mean, of course, white pads, black drum set, of course. These pads tend to fit a little better. Like the pads that came on this, I just noticed are very, very hard, which isn't a bad thing, but the foam is just so much more efficient. So yes, this is a nice stand, and I am pleased with it for the cost, but I will say that right off the bat, I will end up changing the head out. I will end up, oh boy, that is nice, not bad, very strong. See, and this is the stand that I'm replacing. When you hit something on a small stand like this, it does the movement. And when you're in a rough place, where some of us play on places that aren't necessarily level or smooth, stands like this tend to live short lives because they're great when they're down low. If you're going to put a ride cymbal on something like this, you put it way down low, you know. If you're going to put something way down low on it, I've used one for years like that. I had a cymbal stand that had the old Ludwig snare drum bass on it. And that stand was way down low for the ride cymbal. I had it next to the bass drum. So, you know, the old sock cymbal thing there. And, but yeah, stands like this, when they're tall, they tend to not last long and they're not horribly strong. You know, so, that's why, even though I like this stand, it is new, it's a new stand, it's very good quality, I'm not complaining. It does fit very tight into places because of the bass. But when I'm sitting down playing hard or playing with my sons, which tends to be more of a, you know, a distorted guitar episode, which I'm sure you understand. The hit is harder, so I need more power. You know, I'm generally a pretty weak milk toast old man, so I don't play hard. I've played with guys that play unbelievably hard. I've also played with guys that play with little tiny sticks, little tiny skinny guys. Don't play hard at all and they'll blow your ears out just because they know how to hit it. And anybody that doesn't know that it's all in the stroke and how you draw the sound versus how you smash it in, then you don't know what you're doing. And I think that the better people know that. Now see, this is what I done to this one. This one also, this stand here also came with, the plastic piece. Which I'm not that great on those because I know they're going to break, right? But this is what I use on mine. I use the sim pads, use different colors, but I find that these have been very, very, really good with the cymbals, and they fit up top, and then when you go to bolt them, when you go to nut them, the pad takes up a lot of that. Now it depends on how much crank you put in your cymbals. I don't put a lot of crank on my cymbals. I tend to use my cymbals somewhat flat because I like to draw an edge. I like to draw the edge sound. Okay, so that's just my thing. Now I kind of did some big band training and things when I was quite a bit younger, and the big band training kind of gave me that drive to want things to snap. So in other words, you don't want your cymbals to go whoosh. You want your cymbals to go crack, because that's what you're going to get off of it. It's like if you play with a big band, the best thing to do is to throw the drum score out the window, grab the first trumpet part, not solo trumpet, first trumpet part, put it on your stand. Every kick and change, every beginning, every kudo, every capa delfina, everything will be in that part. And that first trumpet part will tell you where all the pow, 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 where all the kicks and changes are and how you're going to have to crack that band, right? Very few big band pieces are written without the first trumpet hitting all of the hard accents. So anyway, this is what we ended up with. Now that I've thrown in something that has absolutely nothing to do with it. But this is what we ended up with. I am actually very pleased with this. And I think that will support the 18 much better. Although once again in my little railroad house living room here, space gets taken up rather quickly. But oh yeah, I'm very pleased with that. That will definitely bring it around. So, as I was saying, now we're going to have to adjust it out. But anyway, yeah, I can't believe this even came with a damn drum key. Man, ddrums does some stuff like that the first time I saw ddrums, I saw one of those Diablo sets, right? And looked at it and thought, well, this is kind of pasty cheap, you know? I mean, not a lot of counter hoops or things, but when I actually sat down at a guitar center and tuned one up a little bit and started playing on it, I was fairly impressed with the way it sounded. I mean, no, it's not going to sing to you in those dulcimer tones of an old Slingerland set or something, but it depends what you do with it. Of course, you could always take it apart and rebevel your edges and get a different sound out of it, you know? But anyway, that's it for now. This ended up being the ddrum RX CS $55 cymbal stand from Musician's Friend. That's it for today. This here was the Sakai stand from Drummer's Workshop in Delaware, or somewhere. It's on the East Coast. It was on sale for $49. It's a Sakai, which they claim make a lot of drum equipment. I'm not real familiar with them, but and most of the stuff I know is pretty old. It's like any other room. I have a 50-year-old Rogers original pre-CBS Rogers cymbal stand in the 3 stages with the hard lock on it. You could kick this thing to death and never knock it over. But that's another video. Anyway, this one is the cheaper, flatter one. Fits in a lot of places. This has been a good stand. But when it came to rocking, I wanted the bigger, harder bass stand. I will say, now that I'm looking at them, the 2 comparable stands to ddrum against the drummer's workshop, the bass on the ddrum is actually a slightly bigger bass and looks more stout. The lock and the memory locks on the DW is a little fancier and a little more, but they're both maybe about the same. Their weight of steel is the same. I think they're going to sit next to each other. Okay? But sitting in between my other stands, which is a Sonar, which I acquired, once again, probably 30 years ago, and a Pearl that I acquired probably 30 years ago or more. And the Pearl boom stand has been probably the best stand I've ever owned. It's hardcore steel, it's very large gauge, it holds anything, it doesn't fall over, and I can hang 2 heavy cymbals on it the same side and it won't fall over. So, but that's what I'm going. Next one video I probably make will be involving a new hi-hat I just bought. It's a Yamaha, and I'll get into it then. But hey, thanks for watching, and remember, it's Drivermilt, and I do know a little bit about drums, just a little bit here and there. So you have a good day, and we'll talk to you next time.